Welcome into episode 35 of JD's Empire Sports Talk. This week, we have a lot going on with the draft coming up. Of course, I got the Jets hat on right here. We'll have a Jets just draft show, pretty much, talking about a few things that happened over the offseason since the last time we talked about them, and also just who they should go with, maybe in specific picks of each round. I'm obviously like the draft board can change on draft night, but realistically, who can be picked in their spot, what moves they possibly can make, and what players they need, because they do have holes on their team where it's pretty much starting spots that are available. So they need to go out and fill those holes, or else I don't know how they're going to do that at this point after the draft is pretty much teams aren't set, but they have their guys at that point. But before that, we'll just want to talk about else is coming up for the week. We have a mock draft, first round mock draft coming up in the coming days. Probably posted on draft day just to show maybe before that, but probably during draft day, just give a mock draft of what we think's going to happen, or more so me at this point. Uh, I'll probably be doing it by myself, but we'll do a mock draft just overall of the NFL, and then maybe some possible trades because I know there's a lot of trade rumors going around, which it happens every year. But I think this year it could be a little different than usual. Some names can be moved. I know people aren't expecting uh, a ton of quarterback movement at this point, but there's some teams out there that I think that Pittsburgh still doesn't have a quarterback. The Saints are up in the air because Derek Carr might be out, and they're also at the ninth pick. So it depends on what happens in front of them. That's a tough situation because right now, really think about it. Titans are the only team that's saying they're taking a quarterback, but the Browns can take one. The Giants can take one. The Jets can take one possibly. You never know about that. I know there's other teams that are lower in the first round that may jump up and take one. Like I said, the Steelers don't have a quarterback. There's teams that Rams like that Stafford's at the end of his career. He's possible of their possible team that could take a quarterback, especially later in the first round. Because there's someone like Jackson Dart could very much be available at that point. I mean, last year we thought Bo Nix would be that type of guy, and he was taken way more earlier. So there's a team that could be trading up just to make sure they get their guy. There could be a team that's out there and says, "Oh, you know what? I think our quarterback's a little iffy at the moment. Let's take a guy that we really like." Um, I know Miami is in a weird spot because Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey, they're probably in their top five players on their overall team, of course. And there's two guys that aren't happy right now. So it's either like, do you want to make the whole team happy, or do you want to just keep your quarterback that's injury prone? That's something to think about. And I think that as time goes, as that draft, they get up to that point and they're like, oh man, Jackson Dart's there, Shador's still there, maybe. Why don't we take them and move on from Tua and maybe become a better all around team, and go with the rookie quarterback and see what he got. So that's gonna be very interesting to see. So I'll do a mock draft, first round, just first round. Maybe if there's some trades, I probably would just do one with no trades because it's hard to predict that because there could be a team that you're not even thinking of and they just jump up in front of everyone. Like I know Patriots have the fourth pick, and they very much want to get Drake May protection, offensive line. They could be a team that's below them that wants to get up, and the Giants want to trade down because maybe the Giants, because they'll probably be in the driver's seat for Abdul Carter. But if you look at the Giants team, yes, Abdul Carter would be good for them, like Neighbors was last year. But will he help them win right now? He could, but they also have a great defensive line that they don't need that as much as they need other positions. So it's something to think about that you don't even know what can happen. And that'll lead us right into this Jets mini mock draft Jets part here. But before that, I just want to get into some Jets notes I had and news of things that happened throughout the offseason, pretty much the last month or so from the last time we talked about them. And first is Aaron Rodgers. We'll start with him. Of course, he's not on the team anymore. He's not on a team yet. He still doesn't know if he wants to play because he's got a lot of things going on. But he's, of course, in the news as usual. So after 3 months of him not being on the Pat McAfee show last week, he was back and he made news. Not the news that people were thinking of, like I said, about playing or not playing or whatever the case is with him, because he never has a straight answer for the most part. But he did talk about He was asked repeatedly, but I think they kind of knew about this or wanted to hear more about it because I know those guys are friends with Rodgers, but they wanted the public to hear it and they wanted to hear more themselves. But what happened when he went to meet with Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji when the season was over, once they were announced over the coaches and all that, and the meeting did not go well. So I think that's not a good thing for the organization already. I know it could be, oh, he's trying to set the tone as it's his team, but also like it's Aaron Rodgers. I know he didn't play great for the Jets, but it's also a Hall of Famer, a guy that's been around for a long time, and you treat him with no respect. That's not good. Not a good look. Or maybe if this team can build it up again, and they're trying to add a Hall of Fame type piece at whatever position it is and they're not going to come here now because they know they're not going to get treated with the respect they deserve. I mean, I know I'm not saying just because he's a Hall of Famer he should be treated differently, but something comes with that. Like you have that personality and you know just like resume of like what you've done as a player that you deserve to get more of a chance to just talk about what the hell's going on here. And he didn't expect, like he said, he didn't expect to play for the Jets. He knew that was a very possibility, very much that he may not be on the team anymore. But he wanted to talk with Glenn, get to know the guy. Maybe he can talk him into keeping him, or maybe he can help him out in the sense of, oh, I know you guys don't want me anymore, but I know things that you can definitely look at changing that this team struggles with, and that wasn't the case. Uh, he goes in the meeting. He said that Glenn sat down with him for like 2 minutes, ran out of the room, then brought in Muji. He was talking. Rogers talking to Muji. Glenn just sitting there and just out of nowhere asked him if he wants to play. He says yeah, and then he's know we're going in a different direction. So Rogers flew across the country just to hear that. I don't think it's right. It could have also went a different way. He could have picked his brain for a long time, uh, hours, maybe over a day, over the night, whatever the case is, and then be like, you know what? We thought about it. We really like that. What your thoughts are on the team and all that. We're just gonna move on. We want to get younger at the position, less money. It didn't work out, and we have to get younger all around. And I think that moving on, and of course they get Justin Fields now, but he that would be the better move. That being said, his other another Green Bay Jet Packer, whatever you want to call them, Alan Lazard is going to stay on the team. He restructured his contract. I kind of knew that was happening as the offseason kept going on because the receivers they signed were below him, though they will be probably below him on the depth chart. And I think they'll draft their wide receiver two in the draft if possible. Or they'll just, of course, I don't want to spoil it, but get a certain tight end that is basically like a wide receiver, or would be like a wide receiver two for this team because, of course, Garrett Wilson is the main guy that they need to help and get him better. But so Lazardo's back. Lazard is back. Cheap deal. I mean, I'm not gonna be happy about it, I guess, because he really was not good at all so far. But he showed flashes last year. Before he got injured, he was catching passes. He wasn't really dropping many. Then when he came back, he just was awful. So hopefully this year, he won't be counted on as much, and then he can do his blocking, which he does pretty well. I know he gets penalties, but he got to go out and do that. I know the fans aren't on his side, so he's gonna make any little mistake, and he's gonna hear it. So hopefully, for his sake, he can play well right away, like he did last year, and keep it going. And hopefully, he can provide something for them because they really need help at the wide receiver position. Speaking of another wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, a part of the trio that received the fifth year option. I think that's just, of course, you have to do it if you want to keep your guys that you drafted around, and then they'll eventually get that contract. I mean, it could happen now and it won't come into effect for 2 years, or they could wait till next year, whatever they want to do. But Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, and Jermaine Johnson, all first round picks from that year's draft of 2022, will be receiving that fifth year option for next year, and they'll be good. Or 2021, whatever it was. Um, I think these guys they'll be 2022. They'll be good players, of course, in the second contracts, and guys they want to build around. Garrett Wilson, a wide receiver one. Sauce, a cornerback one. Jermaine Johnson, he's a pretty good pass rusher when he's fully committed, and of course not injured. But when he was fully committed to it, he was playing great. So those three, happy to see those guys locked up for the fifth year at least, and I'm sure all of them will get contract extensions. Johnson, I would be a little more iffy about. I think they're going to wait to see what he does this year, just because he was hurt and his rookie year was up and down. We'll see what he does this year. His last year he was out, of course, and the second year in between that he had good production. So they want to see that more of that, and they know he has it on the tank. They just want to go him to go out, prove it again, then we'll give him a deal and move on. Sauce and Garrett Wilson, I think, will be locked up much earlier. But in terms of this year's draft, the Jets can go a lot of different ways at the seventh pick, but here we'll talk about a possible trade they swung with the Saints. So Shador Sanders is very much on the Saints board. Like I said, he's probably the team that is favored for him right now, just because of the way of the draft going. Derek Carr, you don't even know if he's going to play or not. Saints are just in a mess, and why not try to get a quarterback in this year's draft? But you can make a trade with the Saints because, of course, the Panthers are at 8. I highly doubt they'll take someone like Tyler Warren because they need other spots on their team. They need to protect Bryce Young even more than they did last year, and they got better at it, but they got to keep getting better. Protect that young quarterback. The Jets can make a trade with them, swap 7 and 9, uh, give up a third round pick, and maybe bring in Chris Olave, who would be your wide receiver too. So you wouldn't even have to use that third round pick or a second round pick on a receiver you're hoping to be that. You know Olave, what he's going to bring. Comes in as another Ohio State Buckeye as well with Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields and Ruckert and a few others. He would be perfect, I think, for this team. Him and Wilson have played together, so they understand of when they can pick their spots. Of maybe I think I should get the ball this drive, or I should get the ball in this situation. Olave has been injured, of course, in the past few years, but he's a very good player. We all know that. If he wasn't injured, he would have put up crazy, crazy numbers for the last 3, 4 years, and he hasn't had a quarterback either. So that's something that I think him and Garrett Wilson can understand and be like, all right, we both really haven't had quarterbacks where they're number one option or just quarterback capable of throwing the ball more than 15 yards down the field, pretty much. So Olave could be in that trade. I would love that a lot. Forget about the third round pick. Any production you're getting Olave, you're gonna get it. Any production from him will be much more than what that third round pick will bring. And then Tyler Warren could be taken at the ninth pick. So now you have a legit tight end, two legit wide receivers. Then those third, third, 4, and 5 spots 3, 4, 5 spots of wide receivers. Corley, Lazard, Tyler Johnson. I know they signed someone else. I can't think of his name. That would be a really good move, and I think that's something to look at. See what happens, but that could be a very very good move, and especially with Warren, he had over 100 catches, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, 200 rushing yards, and can throw as well if you want to do trick plays. So he can do it all, and I think that's something that the Jets team has never had in the sense of a tight end. Like he's not just a tight end either. He's a do-it-all player. We know Brock Bowers was someone that Jet fans wanted. I know I wanted him last year. He can't even do as many of these things. So I think Warren has a much higher ceiling than Bowers does. And Bowers, of course, will put up crazy numbers, but the other things Warren can do is unmatched. And I think that he really needs to be this pick for the Jets. It sets him up in a different level. And then right tackle, something that they have a huge hole at. They can go with Josh Connerly from Oregon. He's a behemoth, 6'4", 311, very athletic. He benefits run blocking more, so that could be something that I think the Jets are going to lean on, especially if the first round pick is Warren. He can block. Lazard is a good blocker. Tyler Johnson's a good blocker. Garrett Wilson can get in there when he has to. So can become that. They want to become that more physical team that seems like Aaron Glenn loves to push. It's the perfect situation for that. Bring in a big offensive lineman, put him at right tackle, probably the least pressure spot, I would say, on the offensive line, compared to center, of course, left tackle. The guards are going to be really good. And he's going to be surrounded by 4 really good players. Olu Fashanu, of course, is going to be good. John Simpson, Joe Tippmann, and Elijah Vera Tucker, AVT. They're all solid players. We saw it last year. And I think that he could fit in. A rookie that has support around him is a lot better than what past rookies have had to deal with on this Jets team. Mekhi Becton, of course, had no help. He'll come into a really good situation. I think that's a good spot they can go um, to get a good player and a starter because he's gonna have to start. You know, you can battle it out with Max Mitchell and whatever, but he's gonna start. Then moving on later, of course, the third round pick is gone. They have more picks towards that fourth, fifth, and sixth round. So CJ West from Indiana. I know I mentioned if the cards fall right in the sense of Tyler Warren and trading with the Saints. But it's very much possibility that Mason Graham could be available. That's who you would probably go with next in the first round. But say we can stick with this draft board here. TJ West from Indiana, defensive tackle, another behemoth who weighs over 350 pounds, 315 pounds, I should say. Played in the Big Ten, so that's tough football. He stops the run, which is exactly what they need because they cannot stop a nosebleed last year. I mean, at all. Quinnen had no help, so he couldn't do it, and they really had nobody. I know they try to fill it with veterans, but that just was not working. I don't know what it was. The run game, stopping the run game was pretty atrocious throughout. So they need to um, just sit back and try to bring in someone that could do that. And I think that CJ West can be that type of guy. Next pick, Malachi Moore, safety from Alabama. He is undersized a little bit, so he's not the biggest or most strongest guy, but he's one of those guys that will put his head over anybody on the field. He'll go out there and lay someone out if he has to. He loves making the big plays. He played at Bama, so he has that instinct um, of going out there and always wanting the ball. He could play different positions, safety, and then the nickel spot as well. So that's huge for this team. If you saw what Isaiah Oliver was for the Jets last year, I know he's back, but having another guy that's younger that can do the same thing, can't complain about that. Michael Carter was another guy. He plays the nickel spot, but he can also fly around the field a little bit. Bringing versatility, I think, is more important than ever in the NFL, just because of the guys you're going up against. You're gonna get receivers that are huge, and then you're gonna get small guys. You're gonna get tight ends that are guys that just block. You're gonna get tight ends that look like receivers. You're gonna get running backs that are ginormous. You're gonna get running backs that are small. It doesn't matter what it is. So you're gonna have guys that can be able to defend all these different things. I think of one thing right now. Ravens have two really good tight ends. The Jets are going up against the Ravens. They're probably going to put out a Malachi Moore if he's on this team, or Isaiah Oliver, of course, to guard both of one of those tight ends, and then Michael Carter or one of those other safeties can guard another tight end. So that it's the versatility is extremely, extremely important. So they have to try to address the safety position as a whole. So I think this is one of those guys they could bring in. Of course, won't start. He has a chance at it because the safety room's not too great. I know Cisco's there, but the other spot is it could be had. So I think Malachi Moore can put himself in a good spot, and the Jets would be a nice fit for him. Next pick, Jack Kaiser. I like this one a lot. So if they have a chance at getting him at this point of the draft, I know he probably will be at this point because he's another undersized player, but he plays bigger than the size. I think that's what the theme is of the Jets of this Jets regime. They're looking for guys. It doesn't matter what they look like. If they show heart and they really want to go out there and get something done and they can do that, they want them. And that's something that I can agree with. They got to have players that have heart. They feel like some of these guys did not care as much as they should, and it showed every week, and they would just lose games. But Kaiser would definitely not start because the linebacker room is pretty much loaded. But Kaiser is a freak athlete for his size. Like I said, um, if I'm not mistaken, he's up there in tackles all time at Notre Dame, captain of the defense. He can match up with any running back, so he can get in coverage with them if he has to. He struggles with that side to side running, which I think will hurt him a little bit, and that's why he's not going to be taken until this point of the draft, fourth or fifth round, pretty much. But I think he can make up for it for his other parts of his game. And then just if you had draft someone like him, you got to pick your spots with him. I know his first 2 years, he's probably not going to start, but you have to be able. Okay, we got to trust this guy. He can do it. He's a leader. He's a born leader. Like he just has that factor on him, and I think that if they use to pick his spots, put him in certain situations where he can make a play, great. And special teams, he'll be all over that. So he's very uh, versatile, and that's good. Next guy, another offensive lineman. This is a guard this time, Connor Colby from Iowa. He has a ton of experience, ton of snaps. Of course, another Big Ten guy, over 2,500 snaps at left guard and right tackle. So he could play guard spots. He could play right tackle. Another guy you have a chance of bringing in, possibly starting, if the other guy doesn't work out. Who I was talking about, Connerly from Oregon. It's a good depth piece. He is not great in the pass protection, which I think is a theme of this draft, honestly, as a whole. I think it kind of gets worse as it goes on, but guy that you can definitely still think about and bring in. But he can run it. He can run the run protection very very good, and then he can move guys. So that's good to see. And if you're playing at Iowa, you got to be able to do something right, especially in the run game, because that's pretty much all they do. So that's great to see. And the last guy um, would be later on, late in the draft. Kemion Rucker from North Carolina, so UNC, of course, at 14 and a half sacks, 23 tackles for loss throughout the last 2 seasons. Definitely a rotational pass rusher. Run game will probably be non-existent. And the comp I kind of see from him is like a Bryce Huff type, extremely fast, gets to the quarterback, can stop certain aspects of the run game in the sense of getting into the backfield before the guy even has a chance. But once he gets past the offensive lineman, he's not going to be that guy to make a tackle. The rotational pass rusher, which I think this team missed. And we got to think about it also. Salah's not here anymore, so it's a different scheme and different sense of what you want to do. So having that option is great. I know the Lions were a team that used rotational pass rushers a lot, so they just gotta try it, see what happens, and if they can get a steal at this late in the draft, great. If not, all right, we took a shot on them. It's not gonna work. And one thing we didn't see here was taking a quarterback, which I definitely could see. It just depends on how the board falls, because I know there's a lot of like quarterbacks that really just aren't that great. I don't know if the Jets want to even waste a pick on that because they know what they're going with this year. At least just for this year, they know Fields and Tyrod will be the guys. So I don't know if they want to just push that agenda, but I could see them taking a quarterback at some point. I really hope it's not in the first round. It's just not necessary at this point. If I mean, you see what you got in Fields. If he doesn't get it done, then next year you'll have that chance of getting another quarterback high in the draft. So I think this year you kind of see what you got from Fields. Try to make it as most talented group around him, just so he has a chance at proving himself as well. And if he does well, he has another year next year, and then you can re-sign him after that. It's up to whatever the team wants to do. But I'm not as excited as I usually am, of course, or the past few years, I should say, being a Jets fan just because of what's happened. But I think this is a different era coming up, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what they can do. Nothing much else though. I talked about Rodgers, Lazard, the fifth-year option guys, what they can do in the draft, certain situations, depending on what happens. But we'll put out the mock draft next week. Not can't be next week because the draft will be over, but it'll be Thursday. Draft will be Thursday. We'll get some pre-draft thoughts and after draft thoughts as well, just to see what the Jets did. And hopefully, they made the right decision. Later in the week as well, we'll probably do a Knicks Mets. Briefly mention St. John's. They picked up another huge transfer. So we'll talk about those guys as well, um, just to catch up on that. CT will probably be back next week. I'll just have to reach out and see what his schedule is looking like. I definitely want to talk to him because it's about a month in now of the MLB season. So we get a new update on how his Yankees are doing and how what he thinks of the Mets right now. Because the Mets are flying high, 6 game winning streak to date. So that's good to see. But for now, episode 35 is over. JD out.